All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Mastery Unleashed podcast. I am Christie Ruffino, the host of the show. And if you are new here, you are absolutely in for a special treat today when you get to meet our guests. But I'm going to talk about that in a moment. And if you have been a longtime loyal listener of our show, I want to thank you. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Diane Murphy, or we like to all call her Dee. Dee has been in my universe for about 12, no, not 12, 6 months now. And I've really got to appreciate Dee for her passion and her motivation and her drive and her skills. She is very intuitive and she is really making a huge difference in the lives of her clients. But like all of the guests that I have on our show, it's all because of her story. So first, I want to welcome you, Dee. I'm happy to have you on the show.
Thanks, Christy. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So you are focused on supporting women, but not all women, specifically women that have had a long time career in a male dominated industry. So, can you share a little bit about that mission, please?
Sure. Thanks, Christy. I work with intuitive women who come from male dominated fields like veterans or corporate executives or physicians. And they work with me to reclaim their strength and rebuild their life after service because they struggle with burnout, identity shifts, and a lost sense of purpose. And I help them turn their uniqueness into personal and business success. Bottom line, I help them reclaim their power, design a meaningful life, and add six figures to their business in 12 months or less, guaranteed. And basically, all of this came about because I'm a veteran and I faced some challenges after I got out of the service. And I noticed that I wasn't alone.
Yeah. And so, like a lot of our guests, they realize that their mess. Well, I wouldn't say it was a mess for you, but a lot of people realize their mess became their mission. And you realized because of your own experience that there were things that needed to be changed. And personally, I don't have a lot of experience. I have an experience being a woman, but not necessarily anything to do with military or a lot of these fields that women tend to get into. I mean, we're very skilled. We can do just about anything we put our mind to. But there has to be some prejudice that come along with that. And that is what kind of that's what's brought you here is the situations and the things that you faced in your story. So do you want to share a little bit about your story?
Sure. I'm a Navy veteran. I spent 10 years in the Navy, active duty, and served overseas. And when I got out of the service, I was so excited. I had so much experience in the military. I just couldn't wait to share and just be part of civilian nursing with all of that in my background. And when I got out, I couldn't get a job. And I was actually told by some of the leaders that, oh, we can't hire you because we're afraid you're going to work outside your license. And I was in shock because I never even considered that that would be a possibility. I figured I'm a registered nurse. I can get a job anywhere. And with all this military experience, I have an awesome background. And to be faced with that instant rejection, that just sort of floored me. I did find a job in Veterans Affairs Medical Center, and it was a great transition. So I got 5 years of experience working with my fellow veterans. And during that time, I just started looking at things and thinking about life and life after service because I enjoyed my time in the military. There was a lot of bonding. You could always rely on your teammates. You know, we've got your back. You fit in. You had a structure. There was so much that the military had to offer that I kind of missed when I got out into the civilian world. And one of the things that I have found that not just myself, but other women face is that we no longer fit in. Who we were before service, when we come out, we're different. We've had to learn to function in a male dominated field. And that's not a negative. That just simply gave us a superpower. We learned how to function from our masculine side, but that also made us not fit in so well in the civilian communities because we didn't fit in. We weren't accepted. People didn't understand us. Most of us are told we're too abrupt, we're too male, we're not feminine enough, we're too direct. And it just, you watch somebody from the other gender do the same thing, they don't receive that type of challenge to their leadership or their interaction. They're accepted as they are unless they're screaming their heads off. But a woman who uses a strong, dominant approach to things is not accepted. It feels uncomfortable. And the other thing I noticed is that as a woman, if I went to a store or was buying something and I'd ask for the military discount, they'd turn to the man if there was one with me or ask me, was it your dad or your husband who was in the service, and thank them for their service. Or the man next to me would be thanked even if he was never in the service. So there's a lot of prejudice and discrimination for women veterans and women who function in male type careers like policemen, firemen, physicians. We just don't fit the mold. So we struggle. We become successful in our careers, yet we struggle to fit in. And we feel like we're pushing this ball uphill with no help.
So I know the whole integration from military life to just, it's called something. What's it called, D? When you're not in military life anymore, like just the normal world, but it's called something, isn't it?
I'm a little lost with that question.
Okay, maybe not. All right. So the integration out of the military just to everyday life, right?
Right. We transition to, it's called sort of civlant. That's Navy term
civilian,
civilian status. And, when we do that, we're different than who we were when we entered the service or when we became a corporate executive or a physician. We had to fit into a man's world. And again, it's not a negative. We had to learn different skills than what women are taught in general if they're not engaged in a male-dominated field. And just a few statistics that might help. We have about 258 million adults, that's 18 or older in the United States, and only 0.6% of them are women veterans. So we're just a tiny little drop in the adult population. But one of the key things is we are an all-volunteer server. We are not drafted. We are not forced or coerced to go in. We volunteer to do the service. And most of us, when we come out, we want to be of service to others in the community. So one other statistic, about 48% of women veterans are entrepreneurs, yet 48% of women veterans struggle to get business funding. So it's kind of like we're very successful at becoming something different when we get out, yet it's a struggle. We fight our battle every step of the way. And 66% of women report having struggles with identity or not fitting in because they're a woman veteran. We don't fit the stereotype.
Yeah, so that's where I was going with it. So the integration just in general is difficult, right? Because life in the military is, you're in a completely different world. It's nothing like we know it here in civilian life. And then integration for women has compounded effects. There's way more than what men deal with. And I love how you have statistics because there's so many of these things that I think the average person doesn't know. And, the reality is, if there are less women in the military overall, I could see where the misunderstanding or misinformation could come in. But as a society, what could we do different to be able to make this an easier transition and really embrace these women that have amazing skills. I mean, bottom line is when women are, I believe, when women are successful in the military is because they've been able to tap into their alpha side and their male skills, but yet still embrace the femininity that they have, the intuition, the all of the great things that women can do, which allows them, I feel, of course, I feel this, but to be even better qualified. But yet they're getting turned down, and it just doesn't seem right. Like, where's the disconnect here?
Well, the disconnect, how I work with the women who come to me is I teach them that somebody else's idea of who you should be is not what you should be following. You should be following your passion and your purpose. And I work with the women to help them get clarity on what they really want. And we go through a whole series of questions and answers and some exercises to find out who exactly this person is inside. Take away all of the camouflage that we've had to put on and wear, all of the directions we've been given from everybody else, and start looking at who we are in our heart. I call it sort of opening your heart and changing your mind. And by embracing that part and knowing yourself, you begin to understand what drives you. And we work together then to help guide you towards your passion. I say follow your passion projects at work. Find a career that suits you, not because of the money. Chase it because it sort of speaks to your heart. And, as I mentioned, about 48% of the women entrepreneurs who are veterans, they started their businesses to be of service to their communities. What an awesome group of people that they come out of a life of being in the military, whether it was for 1 year or 20 plus, and they come out and start businesses to be of service to their communities. Mm-hmm. And so I work with the women to help them sort of uncover their passion. They probably know it, just not sure how to use their passion to move them into where they want. Because one of the things that we do that creates our difficulty is we chase the money instead of chasing our passion. When we chase our passion and put our energy into that, the money does come.
Okay, so I'm seeing two sides here. So as far as the women go, like they're faced with this re-identity, like they have to figure out their new identity from the transition. And because they're being kind of faced with all this negativity, it stops them from figuring it out. It stops them from stepping into their, you said superpowers, their gift, their purpose, their what they should be doing next, instead of, or they're blocked by that, and they end up by getting into something that doesn't necessarily make them happy. So is that a good assessment?
That is. We're stuck in this never-ending cycle of trying to get to that goal, but not quite reaching it. Because if we really stopped and think about it, we're not following our passion. We're in a job because it's a security. It provides us with the money we need for our house, for our car, but it's not quite what we want. And we're finding that there's people picking at different things about us that they don't like. And we start to wake up and not want to go to work. And so in even the Trailblazing Your Transformation, from surviving to thriving, I talk about a 4-step process that I have people use. And you first become self-aware. You look at your belief systems. You challenge anything that doesn't support who you are as a core individual. And then you focus on your strengths. And we've got a lot of strengths as women veterans. And that's one of the things where people try to tamp us down and put us in a hole because we need to be more female. We need to be more feminine. Well, we're simply an enhanced version because of our experience as veterans.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
The key is we're not supposed to fit into someone else's expectation. we have to stop and look at what our own expectations are, not our parents, not our partners, not our peers, but we're here with a purpose. And serving as a veteran, as a military person, gave us some added insights and some added strengths. And they actually gift us with the superpower of being able to change the world if we follow our heart.
Yeah. All right. So I love that you have this amazing program to help women on that journey of transformation, on that journey of self-discovery, and on that journey of owning who they are, right? And not being ashamed of it, not feeling that it isn't good enough, not feeling that they're not fitting into the right mold, that they're just basically going down the path of what is perfect for them, where they're going to feel happy every day, excited every day, and really just kind of be in this space of feeling like they're in the flow. So I love that. Question I have now on the flip side of this, because we have a big audience, not everybody is identifying with that mission because that's who they are, but they may know somebody that is struggling with that, or either is a family member or somebody they work with, or just, somebody that they have in some sort of a close relationship, but it's not themselves. So how can we support those people?
Well, they recognize their uniqueness.
Okay.
Thank them for their service, but mean it. Don't just say what everybody says, thank you for your service, and move on. But truly, have a moment of gratitude about what these women sacrificed for their country, and recognize them and recognize their strengths. Stop putting your expectations in front of them, but look at who they are and what they have to offer, and recognize that strong, powerful woman who served for the country and is now back in civilian land.
I love the fact that you pointed out that women are not drafted, that they went in there voluntarily, that they felt they were being called. They wanted to make a difference. They wanted to help. They wanted to bring their skills to the table to be a patriot, like to help the world. We're specifically talking in the military, but even as a police officer or any other kind of dominated field, but specifically in the military, they chose to do that. Yet they were faced with way more challenges than their male draftees or even other men that volunteered to be in the space. And then they come home and now they're dealing with a whole nother set of challenges. And so I love that you've got this amazing program, and I love that you have these resources that are really designed specifically to speak to those people, to help them, to really give them the fastest journey to getting to where they want to go. And you've got this free gift. You mentioned it for briefly, but the Trailblazing Your Path to Abundance. It's a checklist to help them ignite their purpose and prosperity. So do you want to share a little bit about what that is and how they're going to use it?
Well, it is something to be used daily. And there are 10 steps in there that talk about a process that I use all the time. And when you wake up, you've got some things to do. You need to focus on the abundance in your life, not the what I don't have, but focus on the abundance, and just follow this checklist, and it will guide you into seeing your world from your inner self rather than everybody else's expectation. And this checklist will help you take steps towards prosperity and a sense of fulfillment inside. And it helps you rediscover your power, your purpose, and the joy of living a life that excites you every single day. And I follow it, and I wake up with a smile on my face. Even if the day maybe has some things I don't want to do, I am happy. And what the clients that I've worked with, I've shared this with them, and they are enjoying their abundance. Now, abundance comes more than just money. It's all about seeing the gifts that you already have, the gift of family, the gift of friends, the gift of community. Most of us in the United States have a place to live. We have a way, we have a job, and we have a way to get to work. We have food, and we fail to see the what we have. So this checklist will help you on your journey to start every day off with a little bit of joy and a little bit of fun.
Awesome. Awesome. I like to ask sometimes these little impromptu questions, and we've been talking about superpowers a lot on today's episode. So, Dee, if you can be a superhero for a day, which superhero would you want to be?
It's interesting, Wonder Woman sort of jumps out there. Even though she's an old character, she has the ability to just be there to help. And she keeps a little bit of, she's got the warrior side, but she's got the feminine side. And that's really what we have. And the wonder part, that's why I like the Wonder Woman, is I see the title as the wonder and joy in life, because we have to get in touch with that inner child, that little girl who just is there with innocence, because she still exists. Despite all of the other experiences that we've had in our life, we have the capacity for great and tremendous joy. And so that's how I look at Wonder Woman. And that's the super character.
Yeah, and she's got those awesome bracelets. She can just
Oh,
deflect
yeah.
anything that she wants.
Strength and determination,
Yes.
but not above using her masculine and feminine side together.
Yes.
And that's my goal, is see both as strengths, join them together, follow your passion, follow your heart, change your mind about what's driving you, and really open your heart about that.
Wow. I love that. Awesome. Well, Dee, thank you so much for being on the show today. And if you're listening and you want to connect with Dee, all of her contact information will be in the show notes, as well as a link for you to head on over to our gift vault to get her amazing resource, as well as a bunch of other resources from our past guests. And of course, if you are loving our show, please go to whatever platform you listen and share some love. We love getting reviews from our listeners. Even if they're not always good, we want to make sure that we are staying connected to what you want as a listener of the Mastery Unleashed podcast, so we can keep bringing on terrific guests like Dee. So thanks so much, Dee. It's been a fun time that we had together, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be on our show.
Thanks, Christy. I had a great time too. I did want to share something though.
Oh.
I am one of the authors in this new Mastery Unleashed book that Christie Ruffino helped us pull together. And consider getting it, because I and the other authors in there, we have some amazing stories. And I love the camaraderie of everybody that was part of the authorship of this book. And the stories that they have to share. I mean, it just goes to your heart. So consider that. We made international bestseller. Woo.
Ooh,
And
yes.
yeah, I just thought I'd put that out there too.
Absolutely. Yes. This is one of the series of interviews I'm doing with all of the authors. And if you want to have Dee sign an autographed copy of that book, just reach out to her. She'll be glad to get that worked out for you and get that in the mail over, so you can read her story, her complete story, as well as the stories of all the other amazing women. So you can get that. The contact information will be in the show notes below to connect with Dee, and we will see you all on the next episode of the Mastery Unleashed podcast. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.